Hi everybody, this is Manny again coming to you in reference to chapter 2 of Anyone Can Buy a Home. Alright guys, chapter 2. Chapter 2 is very much more diving into the specifics of the financing, right? Step 1, chapter 1, you mentally says you're ready to buy a home. Because remember that step 1? Step 1, getting started with buying a home. You told yourself you're ready to get started. Now, you gotta take the step as far as a loan. There's two things that I bring up in chapter 2. It's called getting pre-qualified and pre-approved at the same time. Like, you would think that sounds like the same thing. Getting pre-qualified, getting pre-approved. Completely different situation, guys. And I tell you right now, when you step into the world of buying a home and you're ready to make that step, you would want to make sure that you're what's called pre-approved. I'll tell you the differences. Okay, pre-qualified. Pre-qualified means you went to the financing application process for a mortgage, right? Didn't submit any documentation, but you have an application you submitted with a mortgage lender. They went through a review process on stated information to tell you what you can qualify for when it comes to a mortgage loan on securing that on a house. That's it. You basically are getting pre-qualified on just stated information. Okay, now if you guys have requested credit in the past, in general credit beyond just real estate, you notice that there's a lot of stated applications out there, right? Car loans, credit cards, right? You can do a state application with a mortgage, but that's the biggest issue that I tell everybody right now. You need to also get pre-approved. Now, pre-approved is a step further. That's what you need to do in the home buying process. Don't just get pre-qualified, get pre-approved. Okay, and I will tell you why. Can you just imagine what the difference in issues are if you just come pre-qualified with just something you stated? Right? There's margins of errors there. There's no communication. There's no understanding of your situation or application. Pre-approved means you submitted documentation, guys. What do I mean by documentation? There is going to include document, and if you don't submit this, you're not pre-approved. No matter what anyone tells you, no matter how the process works, you're not pre-approved. Pre-approved process, I promise you, is based on a situation of you submitting documentation with your application. Okay, first one is proof of income. Proof of income is the number one. If you don't submit that, you're not getting pre-approved. Yes, you told everybody what you want on the phone. Yes, you said you had a great year, you're making all this income. We still need the proof of income. Remember, you're offering yourself a request for a loan for 30 years, right? And we're trying to make that decision on one application that you submitted on a snapshot of your situation. Proof of income, that's going to include W-2s, 2 years, okay? It's going to include pay stubs, and if you're self-employed, tax returns and profit and loss statements. So get ready mentally to provide documentation. Remember, you mentally told yourself you're ready to make this step, and this is a requirement to get pre-approved. The more you submit up front, you're going to be needing that documentation. Proof of assets. Now this is basically if we're looking at a situation if you're putting money down. Okay, we talked about the programs. Your loan broker will talk to you about the loan programs you qualify for, and if down payment is a better option for you, you're going to need to source that, guys. Okay, now that's another piece that some people don't understand. It's going to be with bank statements. It's going to come with assets from federally insured institutions or from interest-based bearing accounts or retirement accounts. It can be anything. It has to be in your name, shown in your name. We're talking about IRAs. We're talking about CDs. We're talking about investment accounts, checking and savings account, brokerage accounts, retirement accounts. Everything that's in your name can be used. Okay, but it has to be verified in a bank account, right? We can have situations where you're just pulling cash from somewhere, it's not verified in a bank account, selling of assets that aren't something we can use to buy a home. Like I'm telling you, just mentally tell yourself, you never thought about it, that's what you're going to have to do. You have assets verification. Now you're also going to have credit. Your credit's going to be pulled. It has to be done. Now you've done that, you got pre-approved, pre-qualified. The pre-approval process, you don't have to re-pull your credit, okay? But just so you know, you do have to have the credit pulled. If you're not getting your credit pulled and they're telling you to go look for a home, that's just not the right person you're talking about. I'll just be honest with you. And there will be an employment verification. Yes, you provided your password, your W-2s. Yes, you provided your pay stubs. And now we're asking you for a verification of your work. Yes, believe me. Everyone made a joke one time that we'll be asking for everything besides your firstborn. I totally get it. We're going to dive into your financial situation because we want to give security. A pre-approval gives you security that you are going to be in a position to finance this home, right? A pre-qualification just tells you that you can, but doesn't tell you that you're approved. right? No one's gonna force you to take that extra pre-approval step. I know that's unfortunate, right? You have to just know yourself when you empower yourself when you talk to them. If they don't tell you to get pre-approved, then that's something you should consider as an issue on your sale to take that next step, 100%. Okay, now there's just some questions that I want to tell you when it comes to that whole process. One last piece, okay, it's the process of determining if you can be, how the depth that you know of how you're going to get qualified, okay? Because lenders have what's called a automated system, right? We're into the deeps, guys, real depths here. Automated systems that make fair lending decisions on whether or not you're credit worthy to buy a home. All right, there's two systems that they use. You guys really want to put your broker and loan officer on their heels and you start bringing up the specifics, you can do it, guys. This is your home. That's fine. I'm talking about automated underwriting systems, right? These are automated fair lending approved systems that have to be used by every lender. Okay, there's one that's called DU, Desktop Underwriter. Another one that's called LP, Loan Prospector. Okay, automated systems that are used from fairly insured entities, which is Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. They have to use those. They're going to run those systems. Right? Those systems are just checks and balances to make sure that they're getting everybody fairly. But if you really want to ask the specifics and ask them about the loan programs, you can bring up those details. I'm telling you. And I want to just share one thing from chapter 2. Another thing when it comes to those two dual, it's basically a process of just reviewing your application through those systems, through systems. The loan officers should have those two options. A good one should. Some just use one. They're not ready to use the other one. They don't know what it means. You might want to ask them. Make sure they're really comfortable in both of those underwriting systems. Those are very serious systems to use. One thing I want to bring up with you is I want to share a lesson that I learned early on that still impacts how I do business today when clients get pre-qualified and get pre-approved. Okay, one thing about it, I can just tell you right now, is being proactive and not reactive when information is being offered. Okay, so if you have someone that's taking your application to get pre-qualified, and they're not really clarifying your application, reactive situation to which you submitting it, they're not proactive on helping you, that's a sign in reference to making sure that you get all the right information to. Remember, you guys are coming in empowered to buy a home, right? You don't want to leverage all the decisioning factors on the process that you're getting pre-qualified. Make sure you're getting questions that you're pre-approved. I know it's a little depth more, guys, on step 2. When you took yourself, you're serious, right? You want to know, you want to ask the questions of all the underwriting systems. You want to make sure you're somewhere. So it's basically, I told myself, being proactive and not reactive. And that comes with me telling you this, originating loans for over 13 years. I'm telling you, there's so many people in the industry that will be very reactive to your business, right? Reactive just to the need. And if someone just gives you the basic need to be reactive, you got to realize they're not really understanding your situation. They're just reacting to your situation. They need to understand it. They need to step above your questions, and you need to feel that you're being taken care of, right? That comes with the experience. That comes with step 2. Right, knowing to get pre-approved and not just pre-qualified. You can ask the question, am I getting pre-approved, pre-qualified? Ask questions away, right? Like I said, it's just understanding that being proactive was the factor that made me understand that this is the difference. Because if they don't know those underwriting systems, those automated systems I told you about, and also on top of that, they're not being proactive and just reactive, that's a bad start to your home financing experience. Because it really makes a huge deal. Now, the dual approval process, guys, the reason why it's so important, if you do that, you get an offer letter, and that offer letter is going to be huge to know that, hey, the lender's already reviewed your documentation. Everything in reference to qualifying for the loan. Huge. You tell them, hey, I'm just pre-qualified, I'm pre-approved. I've had all my documentation reviewed. It's huge just for the sake that you know that your agent that you're working with can make sure that you have a more confident way to buy your home. Because your finances are the last thing you want to worry about when you're trying to find that home with your realtor. Right, step 2. That's what it was. Get pre-approved, guys, not just pre-qualified. That's all I got for chapter 2.